Welcome to this absurd chase. The sergeant orders all to retrieve the Halo component. Get on the tank, no matter what. Soldiers move. Sniper 125 covers from the rear when a spaceship suddenly appears like a surprise party, dropping uninvited guests down. The enemy is bold. Despite the sergeant's might, one can't fight 1,000, the tank crew end up as fried patties. Even the tank driver failed to dodge and was framed. Then the sergeant easily shot a New Alliance soldier. She took the wheel herself, but just as they were approaching their destination, chaos erupted, and 125 saw her buddies drop like chives, causing an emotional meltdown. She stood frozen in fear, like a rabbit that forgot how to hop, and got blasted away several meters. From afar, the sergeant resolved to be a hero, instantly springing onto a New Alliance fighter appearing at random, finally grabbing the controls just as the tank was making a pit stop thanks to a New Alliance fighter. More surprises awaited. At this time, the sergeant desperately controlled the New Alliance fighter, steering it like a puzzle towards the enemy ship, inflicting heavy losses. Miraculously, she came out unscathed. That's when she spotted the component in the distance, and the New Alliance mothership sent a ship to grab it. Just as she was about to grab the component, the New Alliance ship dropped to Thunder's, who smashed her away, but surprisingly didn't chase after her. Instead, it quietly snatched the component, rode away on a beam of blue light towards the battleship, leaving everyone helplessly watching as it went into New Alliance hands, right as the battleship was about to take off. Just then, a landing pod dropped down, revealing that mysterious woman, a super soldier of the Human Federation, undefeated and ready for act. To regular soldiers, she's a wild card, but in the New Alliance's eyes, she's the devil, a real double agent of chaos. They were supposed to be enemies fighting to the death, but somehow they fell in love. What a cliché plot twist. After New Alliance seized the second Halo part, defeated Federal troops brought her back by chance like striking gold. The sergeant was skeptical. She claimed to have been abducted by the New Alliance as a child and held captive until now, a classic victim storyline. After going through a rare and arduous ordeal, she finally managed to escape, she admitted. She calls herself the Noble One, claiming she and the sergeant can both activate Halo components. What a funny coincidence. The Noble One is hailed as a high type of human, while the sergeant doesn't see himself as a disaster. Things are about to get wild. Little Black discovered in a DNA test that the sergeant and the Noble One had the same gene sequences, an unexpected family reunion. The odds are just 1 in 100. What a crazy coincidence. This made the sergeant even more eager to discover what in the world the Halo truly was. Just as he planned to interact with the component again, the Noble One reacted as well, a complete mental sync. At that time, the sergeant couldn't bear it. His heart rate and BP soared, a human time bomb. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself in a sunny world, and to his surprise, the Noble One was there too. Even more astonishing, their body stats matched perfectly, and their thoughts synced together like identical twins. This mental connection sparked some feelings, and before they knew it, they accidentally did something indescribable. Not fit for viewing, better look away. In 2 minutes, the sergeant slept from exhaustion. However, the Noble One remembered the oath he made to the Prophet and grew anxious. He said, "I'm definitely going to bring the sergeant's head back. It's just a matter of time, sooner or later." But just as he was about to act, the Noble One hesitated, and his conscience nagged at him, leading him to decide against it. After just 2 minutes, the sergeant had completely conquered him, almost becoming his superpower. Catherine secretly contacted the Noble One, promising that if he could help her obtain the Halo component, he would become the master of human evolution. The Noble One was astounded, because what Catherine said was exactly what the Star Alliance prophet had spouted, both trying to exploit the components for their own desires. Just then, an attack from the New Alliance annihilated over 20 million lives on a planet, shocking the Federation. The General called for action, determined to locate the New Alliance headquarters and strike back, and that's when the sergeant spoke up. It turns out the Noble One could use the component to locate another component's position, which would also lead them to the enemy hideout. Although the Noble One was raised by the New Alliance since childhood, he's still human at heart. Ultimately, the general was convinced by the sergeant and agreed to cooperate with him. The Noble One didn't hesitate and said yes. However, all of this was being closely watched by Catherine. She quickly ordered the Spartans to stop them, but Cortana timely figured it out and informed the sergeant, helping them avoid an ambush. The sergeant sent the noble one to seek the general's help while he stayed back to confront the Spartans, but without his armor, he stood little chance. He was overwhelmed and crushed, unable to put up any resistance against them. Just then, 125 took advantage of her position and arrived just in time, turning the tide in an instant. On the other side, the noble one was seeking the general's assistance, only to be shot by a little black charging in suddenly. Having just hacked the communications on the Roman dagger, he discovered that the noble one was the culprit behind the crew's attack. Subtitles: The noble one was at a loss for words with countless defenses. Just as he was struggling, he was violently pushed to the ground. This shocking experience caused him great pain. Fleeting memories of his own suffering washed over him. To be honest, the noble one seized this opportunity and turned the tables dramatically.